Meal prep makes me feel happy, balanced, and just generally ready for the week ahead. I had quite a difficult week last week, so I want to start this week with lots of delicious, healthy, high protein, high fibre foods. All the recipes will be linked below, and if you're looking for something specific, I've got timestamps on the video, so you can just skip ahead if you want to. So we've got a main dish, some sides, breakfast, dessert or a snack, lunch, and that's it. I'm just going into the garden to get some chives for the high protein egg mayonnaise, which I'm going to be making first, and that will be the breakfast dish. I love this recipe because it's quick, easy. It's great for breakfast or lunch, and it's also really great for meal prep too. I'm just doing the standard flavour that I have on my website, but I also have loads of different variations as well, so just take a look and see which one you fancy making. I like to boil the eggs for about 8 minutes, so the yolk is mostly set but still a little bit soft but not runny, if that makes sense. Then once the eggs are cooked, we're going to peel them and mash them together with cottage cheese, a little bit of mayonnaise, and some Dijon mustard. Also, I'm adding some chives here, but you could add spring onions instead if you want. That would be delicious too. The mayonnaise is optional. I just like to add a tiny bit for flavour, but you can definitely leave it out if you want to reduce the fat and the calories. Also, I like to use a shallow bowl for this recipe because I find it easier just to mash everything together. I normally just use a fork, to be honest, if it's a small quantity. But if you're doing a bigger quantity, then get a really big bowl and use a potato masher because that works really well. Don't forget to season it with plenty of salt and black pepper. Cottage cheese definitely needs more seasoning than you think, so yeah, make sure you taste it. If I want to cool down the eggs quickly, then I normally just put them in a bowl of water with some ice in it. But sometimes if I'm not bothered about cooling them down super quickly, I'll just put them in a bowl of cold water, but without the ice. Then my favourite way to peel eggs is to crack them on a chopping board or on a plate or something, and then use a spoon to kind of get underneath the peel of the egg and just lift it up. Sometimes if you do that, you can actually take off the whole peel in one go, and it's quite satisfying when that happens. And that's it. A high protein egg mayonnaise that's great for meal prep and perfect for breakfast or lunch. I like to eat it with either some sourdough or rye bread, and it's also delicious with a little bit of chili crisp oil on top as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. It's definitely one of my favourite things to meal prep each week, and yeah, let me know in the comments if you like the recipe or if you have any other high protein egg dishes that you like to prep for the week. The next thing that we're going to make is the cottage cheese cookies that I have on my website as well. I honestly make these every single week because they're such a good snack. Or dessert even. Sometimes I just have a couple as a sweet treat after dinner. But today I'm going to bake them as a bar form instead of having to portion them out as cookies. So I just want to see if the recipe works like that, to be honest. So we're going to mash some cottage cheese. If you don't like the texture of cottage cheese, I would maybe recommend blending it before adding it to the other ingredients. Then we're adding in some honey and ground almonds. Then lots of cocoa powder and a little bit of plain flour. You can also add chocolate chips at this point as well. Also, don't forget to add a good pinch of salt because it really helps bring out the chocolatey flavour of the recipe. When I develop healthy sweet treat recipes, I really try and make sure that they're not too high in sugar because there's no point having a healthy sweet treat if it's just going to have a massive impact on your blood sugar levels. And I also quite like it if it's got a bit of protein in there too, so that's what the cottage cheese and almonds are doing in this recipe. So yeah, this recipe is pretty low calorie. It's got about 100 calories per cookie and about 5 grams of protein and just under 2 grams of fibre. So it's pretty good nutritionally, I would say. So the next thing we're doing, it's less of a kind of recipe, but it is what I seem to eat quite often for lunch during the summer months. It involves a couple of chopped up raw veggies. Then I like to mix in either a can of tuna or I've been quite liking smoked mackerel in a can recently too. And if you get good quality sardines, they're also really delicious canned as well. Then I just mix it all together with a pulse or a bean. My favourites in this kind of dish are either green lentils or if you can find those pretty large chickpeas, the ones that are usually in a glass jar, then those are really delicious in this kind of recipe. Then I just mix it together with a little bit of olive oil, balsamic vinegar and some dried oregano too. And honestly, it takes less than 10 minutes to prepare. It's so delicious, really, really nutritious, a lot of protein, a lot of fibre, a lot of just nutrients. And yeah, it's also quite versatile too, so depending on what you have in the fridge, you can just add that in. Sometimes I'll add in tomatoes. I also forgot that I added in some feta too here. Feta is really, really delicious in this salad as well. And it also means you don't need to add as much fish if you're adding in some feta, because feta ups the protein too. And it makes it creamy and salty and delicious, so yeah, it's a great thing to add. The cheese brownies finished cooking, so I'm just gonna portion them into a few pieces and pack them into Tupperware so I can put them in the fridge. These did work well as brownies, but I have to say I think I prefer them in their cookie form because you just get a little bit more texture with the cookie, but they were still delicious to be fair. Obviously with normal cookies or brownies you don't necessarily need to keep them in the fridge, but because these actually don't have that much sugar or fat, I would recommend just keeping them in the fridge. And I actually quite like the texture when they're from the fridge. They end up quite fudgy and delicious and I really like it. At this point I was a little bit confused about what I wanted to prep for my dinner, but I find just having any type of roasted vegetable in the fridge for meal prep is always really helpful. So I decided to just roast some sweet potato, normal potato, courgette and tomatoes. I covered them with a good amount of salt and pepper, some garlic granules, and that's it. Sometimes I'll add more spices or fresh herbs, but to be honest I was just kind of wanted something simple today, so I just did garlic and salt and pepper. Then for my protein I decided to fry some beef mince, and I also added a can of green lentils just for some extra fibre, nutrients, and also to make the beef mince last a little bit longer because food is quite expensive at the moment, to be honest. This might seem a little bit random, but I wanted some sort of sauce to go with the beef, so I decided to make a Big Mac style sauce, just with some yogurt, a tiny bit of mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard and some vinegar from a pickle jar. It's really delicious and it just goes so well with beef. To be honest, I feel like it would actually go with any meat or even tofu, possibly even some salmon. Or maybe I just love Big Mac sauce and it doesn't really go with any of those things I just said. So that's it, a high protein and high fibre meal prep. I hope it makes you feel a bit more prepared and nourished and back on track for the week. I know for me, meal prepping definitely makes me just feel a bit happier and generally more balanced. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more recipes soon. I've also got plenty more similar recipes on my website, so I'll link it below. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching.